The curse of Labubu. Toys look innocent. When you hold them, you smile. In a child's hands, they seem like a cute friend. But some toys are not ordinary. There's a secret hidden in their eyes. And once that secret is revealed, nothing will ever be the same again. This is the story of a Labubu toy. How an innocent gift turned into a terrifying nightmare. It all began on the birthday of a 17-year-old girl named Lena. Her best friend gave her a Labubu figure, one of the most popular toys at the time. The little creature inside the box, with its furry face, big ears, and wide grin, looked adorable. Lena was delighted. She placed it on her shelf, and before going to sleep, she looked into its eyes one last time. But the next morning, Labubu was no longer on the shelf. She found it sitting at the foot of her bed. At first, she didn't care. Maybe it had fallen during the night. Still, something was off. Its grin seemed wider. As days passed, things grew stranger. One night, Lena woke up to a faint rustling sound in her room. When she opened her eyes, she saw Labubu sitting by her bedside. It wasn't moving, but its eyes gleamed in the moonlight. Lena shut her eyes tight in fear and stayed that way until morning. When she opened them again, the toy was back on the shelf. She told her mother, but her mother just laughed. "Sweetheart, you've been watching too many horror movies." But Lena was certain. The toy was moving on its own. Then something even worse happened. One night while studying, Lena's phone suddenly turned on by itself, and the camera app opened. On the screen was Labubu's face, yet the toy wasn't in her room. It was as if the camera was streaming from somewhere else. Slowly, Labubu's mouth opened, and a deep, distorted voice whispered, "Play with me." The phone shut off instantly. Lena gasped for breath, dove under her blanket, and clutched it tight. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The next morning, she found strange marks on her carpet, small, sharp claw-like scratches, but there were no animals in the house. From that day on, she tried not to look the toy in the eyes, yet no matter what she did, it always appeared. In her school bag, in the bathroom, even in her locker. Her friends thought she was joking, until one night, her best friend Melise stayed over at Lena's house. She woke in the middle of the night screaming. What terrified her was Labubu crawling under the blanket to lie beside her. The toy wasn't moving, but its grin stretched up to her ear. After that night, Melise never came back. Lena's mind began to unravel. She stopped sleeping, barely ate, and desperately tried to get rid of the toy. She threw it in the trash. But the next day, Labubu was sitting at her doorstep. Then its shadow began to act strangely. One evening, when Lena looked at the wall, Labubu's shadow moved independently, waving at her, while the toy itself stayed perfectly still on the shelf. Finally, Lena searched online, typing "Labubu cursed doll." She found chilling stories. Rumors said the toy was inspired by an ancient Thai legend, and that some figures had spirits trapped inside them. If the toy chose you, the only way wasn't to destroy it, but to make a deal. But making that deal would turn your life into hell. The nightmare peaked one final night. Around 3 a.m., her bedroom door creaked open by itself. A cold wind rushed in. The shelf was empty. Labubu was gone. Lena slowly stepped into the hallway. At the end, light flickered from the kitchen. When she entered, she saw Labubu sitting on the table, tapping a rhythm with its tiny hands. Suddenly, the kitchen light exploded, plunging everything into darkness. As her eyes adjusted, Labubu had vanished from the table. Then Lena felt a breath on the back of her neck. She turned slowly. The toy was at eye level, grinning wider than ever. Its mouth opened, and it whispered, "You will be mine." The next morning, Lena had vanished. When her mother entered the room, only the toy sat on the bed. Its grin was now far wider, and its eyes, they seemed alive. No one ever discovered what happened to Lena. But rumors online say that if you stare at a Labubu toy at midnight, behind that grin, you just might hear Lena's scream.